Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Yarn Everywhere podcast. This is episode number 42. I'm going to dive right in and show you what I have been working on. And notice the new project bag. I'll tell you about that in a minute. I am working on some simple cotton dishcloths. I just love the texture of these dishcloth patterns, and I'm almost finished with this one. I have like 2 rows left. And I am using Dishy cotton yarn. It is my favorite cotton yarn to make dishcloths with. And I have it in a ton of colors. And there's also more behind that. I have a problem. When I start crocheting dishcloths, I'm not just going to make one. Like, it's dozens. Like, I can't stop. Lately, I have been distracted by another project. And if you saw last week's episode, I talked about it like almost the whole entire time. I'll get to that in just a second. One of the reasons I'm super excited about that project is because I've been building up to it. Normally, when I want to make something, I'm just going to jump in and I'm going to make it. I'm just going to grab what I need and make it. But with this pattern, I really needed to plan it out. I needed to like collect the yarn, plan out the colors. Well, as much as I could because I was using scrap yarn. I've been wanting to make the cowl for a really long time, and I was just so excited to finally be able to start. The next project that I'm working on is a sunshine iced drink cozy. I always want to say sunshined iced, and I think I've said that in previous podcasts, but it is a sunshine iced drink cozy. I just love making these, and I honestly think I've only crocheted like 2 rows since the last podcast, but I've been distracted with other projects. I'll get back to it soon. So this is what it looks like when it's finished. Of course, this is a different color. This is my favorite cotton yarn color. I love this cotton in the color Brights, and I make everything in this color. It's just my favorite. It's just such a happy color. So this is the Sunshine Ice Coffee Cozy. It has a super cool hand sleeve. So the original design did not have the hand sleeve. And then it was like a year later, I was like, man, it would be really nice to have just something you could just slip your hand in. Now, it is cotton yarn, and with tea and ice in here, I don't think it's sturdy enough to like call it a handle. So I just call it a hand sleeve. Now that I've used it with the sleeve, I can't go back, even though attaching the sleeve is not my favorite thing. You can find this pattern free on my blog, and I also have a step-by-step video tutorial on my YouTube channel for it too. So I will link that below. Next whip, I made just a little bit of progress on one of my knit sock projects. I only knit a few rows. It felt so good to be back to knitting socks again after about a month of not knitting socks. I had other projects that I wanted to focus on, and it honestly felt super weird to be knitting socks again. I don't know. It's like my hands didn't really know what to do. Just blows my mind because I think I started knitting socks. Was it this summer? It was either this summer or early spring. I can't remember. I was literally knitting socks every single day, even if it was just a few rows. This was my go-to in my purse. Like if I was going anywhere, I was throwing a knit sock whip in my purse. And then life got a little crazy and I just haven't gotten back to them. So it felt really good to pick that back up. I feel like once I finish my cowl that I will get back to like my sock knitting addiction. Also, see a new bag? I'm going to tell y'all all about the new bags later on. Are you ready to see the Juniper Cowl? If you follow me on social media, I have been wearing you out with progress pictures of this cowl. I've taken it everywhere with me. Even though it's a bigger project, it's actually really easy to take with you. And I'm kind of obsessed. Like I talked about it almost the entire podcast episode last week. So I know y'all are probably like, I'm ready for her to finish this so she can move on with her life. Let me not hold y'all in suspense anymore and just show you the gorgeousness. Isn't it pretty? I'm obsessed. Oh my goodness. I love it. It's just so squishy and soft. So, I haven't tried this on yet. Let me try it on. I wanna make sure I'm doing this right. Nope. No, I did it wrong. Ugh. I forget that it is a top down, like, you start at the top of it, right? Yes. I knew I was gonna get that backwards. Anyways. Okay. Got it right this time. Oh my goodness, I just love it. I love how it is smaller up here, and then it gradually gets wider. It's so comfortable. So you have that coziness around your neck, but it's not too tight and it's not too loose, so it's not, like, coming down to here. I also love that you can see all the colors. I was worried that some of these colors were gonna get hidden in here. It's nice to kinda try it on and see that it's like the perfect pattern. I am just tickled that all the colors are going to show up and I'll have their time to shine. I highly recommend this pattern. If you can't tell, I'm obsessed with it. One of the reasons I'm super excited about it is because I have a lot of sweatshirts or sweaters that look the collar. The collars are just too big. I don't like the way that they look on me. I don't like a fitted collar, but I like it to kind of come up like a t-shirt does. So it seems like all of my sweatshirts or sweaters, their collar is like this. I have several sweaters or tops that I won't wear. So I can throw this on, hide the weird neck, and I can break out some of my favorite shirts that the only thing I didn't like about it was the neck. I was a couple of rows in on this when I already started planning my next one. I have a problem. So do you wanna see? It took me forever to collect yarn scraps to get to this point. My next one won't be a scrappy one, but I still think it's gonna be gorgeous. Are you ready? Are you on the edge of your seat? Is the suspense getting to you? Okay, sorry, I'm being ridiculous. Here we go. Is this not gorgeous? These colors make me so happy. Here are my thoughts. Pull up a seat. It's gonna get long. Okay, no, I'm gonna try to keep it short, but here are my thoughts. Kind of thinking about starting with this one and then finishing with this one. Or I thought about doing a couple of rows of this one and then switching to this one and just kind of switching back and forth. But I'm not sure if I want to do that. Let's talk it out. Really do think I want to start with the light one and go to dark. I think I want the light one up by my face, or I don't know. Maybe I want the jeweled one up by my face and start out with this one. I'm on the fence, as you can tell. If I want to alternate every so many rows, which means I'm going to have ends to weave in. So that might be out. I think it would be really pretty alternated. Help me. What would you do? Let me show you the speckles. How pretty. And then we just got to do a close up of this one too. That's my idea for the next one. And then I have this color. You probably recognize this color because I just used it in the Sassy wrap, and I kept the extra one just in case I got carried away and needed more yarn, or I decided I wanted to use it for another project because this color is my jam. I have two ideas for this one. I would just make a smaller Juniper Cowl and just use this color because it's gorgeous. And my second option was to try to make these 3 work together. I don't know. I like that. I think it's really pretty. I think I would need to swatch it just to play around with the colors and see how it would look worked up together. The other side of that is I don't like swatching. I just don't like swatching. I don't wanna take the time. I just wanna jump in and make the project. Let me know. What would you do if this was your Juniper Cowl? Would you alternate every couple of rows or start with one and work into the other one when you run out? Or would you make all 3 of these work together? So comment and let me know. So once I finish this one, I can jump in on another one because I definitely feel like this is gonna be a binge project that I'm just gonna make like a million of these because I really enjoy it. All right. I'm not gonna make this whole podcast about the Juniper Cowl like I did last week. Oh, you know what? I wanted to talk out the colors. I can't help myself. I'm at color number 7 and I have 3 more colors to go. My next color was gonna be this one, but here's where I'm at. This color is actually this color right here, this color right here. And then I have this color, which is just, it's all gray. There's no speckles or anything in there. And I just think that after this one, another dark gray would bother me. I think if I was gonna do every other gray row, I would want it to be like that for the whole entire pattern. This right here doesn't bother me. I think that's really pretty. But I think if I did it again, it would really bother me. Well, I'm thinking about going with this light gray. Let me just hold these up for you. This was my plan. I was going after this color, I was gonna go to this color, and then that color. But I think I'm gonna go to that light color. And then this color. And then this color. I feel like the colors in this one are really gonna make those speckles pop. I just feel like these complement really, really well. And this one's just, it's just gray. It's just like gray. It's still pretty, but it doesn't really have a whole lot going for it. I thought I would switch those around. Let me know what you think. What would you do? I know I'm asking y'all like a million opinions today, but I appreciate your feedback because sometimes it just takes like just the right person saying just the right thing that'll give me another idea, or they have an amazing idea and it'll get my brain going. I just love to hear what other people think and what you would do if it was yours. So help your girl out and let me know. I just want to share a tip with you in case you are wanting to make one of these. I love being able to just crochet or knit and not have to really think about what I'm doing. Well, with this pattern, for the most part, you can do that. It's like a super simple, straightforward pattern, and you increase every so many rounds. But I don't want to have to stop what I'm doing all the time and count to see where I'm at. So this is my little hack. These locking stitch markers, the cheap plastic ones that usually just kind of get cast aside and you never use. That's how I am. I do not care for these stitch markers. I very rarely use them. But my pretty stitch markers, even my lightweight pretty stitch markers were still too heavy for this pattern. So that's why I broke out these bad boys. And this is my tip. I double these up because that tells me that was the last increase round. Then when I'm wondering when I need to increase again, I can just count up from there and I know, oh, okay, this is an increase round. And then I can go from there and then I move this stitch marker up. And then I have another one in a different color and I did red for stop. Like this is the end of the round. So that triggers my brain that I'm at the end of the round and I work the next stitch and then I move the stitch marker up. So that is just my tip for making this simple pattern even easier, and you can spend more time crocheting and less time counting rows. One last peek and we are moving on. That is all of the whips that I have. At least the whips that I'm willing to admit that I'm working on. Well, wait. I do have one more sock project that I showed y'all last week, but I haven't touched it. So I'm just not even going to show y'all that. Now I'm going to jump in and show you what I have finished. I showed y'all last week that I finished my sassy wrap, but we had a lot of fringe going on. There was a lot of ends to weave in and I was not making good progress. Here was my plan. I had this in my chair that I sit in the evenings and I had it tucked beside me so I would see it and weave in a couple ends here and there while I was working on other projects, or make myself weave in like a handful of ends before I could work on another project. And that just was not working. Last night, I'm like, okay, I knew I was going to be podcasting today. I have got to finish these ends. I'm not going to work on any other project. I am not allowed to work on any other project until I get my ends weaved in. So I did that. Kind of. Thanks to my husband and my sister-in-law, I decided to get on Snapchat. I couldn't work on any other projects because I was putting myself in timeout until I had these done. So my husband a couple of days ago was on Snapchat, and I guess there's a filter that shows what you would look like as the opposite sex. And his photo was so hilarious. I had to send it to my sister-in-law. And then that made her go on Snapchat and see what she would look like as a guy. And she sent me a picture, and I laughed hysterically at her picture and our conversation because it just went south. It was really funny. So instead of weaving in my ends, I decided that I would get on Snapchat for the first time in like a year, and I wanted to see what I looked like as a man. This is how I procrastinated and entertained myself while trying to get all the ends weaved in. So let me show you what I would look like as a man. Like, what? Oh my goodness. Like I was crying. I was laughing so hard. And of course I had to send them to my sister-in-law. Okay, and then this is what I would look like as a guy with glasses, and those glasses just don't suit his face. Then I just had to like check out some of the other filters, and this is what I felt like as I was weaving in ends. Cracked me up. And then this is what I looked like when I finished weaving in ends because it took 84 years. And I was shocked to see how much I had aged after finishing the ends. Last one. This is what I would look like as a bald dude. Tears. I was crying laughing. That's how I entertained myself. And then I'm like, okay, I've got to get serious. I've got to get back to finishing this. And I finished it. As much as I do not enjoy weaving in ends, I'm really excited to be done with this. And now I just need to block it so I can take some pictures. I plan on doing kits next month, and this is going to be one of the color options. And now I can block it, take pictures, and possibly start another one. I don't know. I have color ideas for another one, but I already have other projects. So we'll see. I also finished 2 more simple cotton dishcloths. Ignore the ends. One of my aunts ordered 10 of these. So my plan is to make all 10, stack them up, and just have a weave-in ends party. Could be a thing. One of my yarn club members sent me a message on Instagram and said we need to schedule a weaving in ends meeting. And that got me to thinking, maybe in my yarn club, I need to have like a monthly Zoom meeting where we can all gather up all the projects that we finished that need our ends weaved in and make it something fun. Well, as fun as it could be. I also feel like I would probably be like super chatty and not get anything done. But it would be fun. We would all be entertained. I have one more whip to show you, and I was super close to being done with this last week, and I'm so proud of this. Look how pretty it is. This is the Copland Shawl by Expression Fiber Arts. It's my second one that I have made. The yarn is from Arkansas Yarn Co., and I grabbed it when I was there visiting in July for the Arkansas Yarn Crawl. And I saw it and just had to have it. Let me just put it on. It needs to be blocked. But I wanted to be able to show it off on the podcast, so I waited before I did any kind of blocking or anything. It's so soft and cozy and beautiful. So I need to have a block party, and get this blocked and get my sassy wrap blocked. I'm going to put that on my to-do list for this weekend. This is the first time in about a year that I haven't had some type of big knitting project. I'm a little lost. I'm glad I have the Juniper Cowl to distract me, but it got me to thinking. I've been wanting to knit a sweater for a while now, and my biggest worry was it would take forever and I wouldn't stick with it. I would just get bored and I would put all this time in because I know myself enough. I would start out with a bang and just be like knitting like crazy and like, oh, I love this. And then I would get bored. But after making 2 of these, I feel like I would stick with a sweater. And I was talking to my friend Cheryl the other day about wanting to knit a sweater, and she has knit so many sweaters, and she was giving me some recommendations. I had also asked a couple weeks ago in my stories on Instagram about what beginner-friendly knit sweater pattern you would use. And I remember a lot of people suggested Tin Can Knits, and I can't remember the other ones. I have them written down somewhere. So I'm going to be deciding soon which pattern I'm going to go with and what yarn I want to use. So far, I've narrowed it down to about two or three. One of them calls for worsted weight, which would be ideal because I have a lot of worsted weight yarn. The other one calls for DK weight with mohair. Well, I don't have any type of mohair in stock, so I would have to buy that. And I haven't tried holding 2 yarns together to knit with. I think I'm just going to have to overthink it for a bit, and then I need to overthink my color options. Part of me was thinking about just doing a tonal just to make life easier, but I really like variegated yarns. I have a lot of decisions to make and a lot of overthinking to do, but I would love your suggestions on what knit sweater patterns, what yarn color you would use. I know I want it to be a color that I will wear. So it's got to be like black, gray, pink, and like that. Like I'm not doing brown. Not gonna do a brown, not gonna do an orange or a yellow. I may even do like jewel colors. I think jewel colors would be really pretty. I'm waiting to cast on any kind of long knit project until I decide about the sweater. But I also miss just having a big knit project. I'm sure I'm going to be knitting a lot more on my socks until I decide. All right, that is all I have as far as projects. So let me show you the new items that I got in, and you've already seen some sneak peeks of. I have a super sweet friend that sent me 2 new project bags, and they are from Erin Lane. I have had my eye on her project bags for a while now. But I'm one of those people that I really don't buy a lot of stuff. So when I want something, I've got to overthink it, in case you hadn't realized that I overthink stuff. But whenever I decide I want something, I'm going to overthink it. And I'm like, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait. I'm usually not an impulse buyer, and I just don't buy a lot of stuff. So even though I've stalked her for a while now and I've admired her project bags, I just couldn't decide which one would I get? What color would I get? So my friend sent me 2 of these, and I could not have done a better job picking these out. Like, she just did awesome. They're just so perfect for me. Look at this. It's dogs playing with yarn. It's so perfect and it's so cute. I love the colors. And this is the large bag. And I have my Juniper Cowl that you're probably tired of hearing about. I have my Juniper Cowl in it plus all the yarn. And look how much room is in there. You can just feel the fabric and tell that it's good quality, but it's super lightweight. I love that because even though it's a large bag, it's still lightweight. I feel like it's going to be the perfect traveling project bag. Let me show you the other one. This is a medium. It's another drawstring bag, and it's from Erin Lane Bags too. And look at these colors. I love them. It's so perfect. They're just so perfect. I love all the flowers and the yarn balls. It's just so pretty. And this is a really good size bag too. It has my simple cotton washcloth in there, plus the ball of yarn and the leftover ball of the gray that I was doing that I think I have enough to make another washcloth with. I was just tickled pink when I got these bags. Literally, I had tears in my eyes because they were so perfect and such a thoughtful gift. I just love them, and I am so blessed to have such a sweet and thoughtful friend. If you watched last week's episode, I talked on my plans for 2023, like some of the projects I wanted to work on and things like that. And one of the other things I want to do is kind of get my yarn room cleaned up. I found 2 totes of yarn, and I think there's some projects in there. I don't know if they're finished. I really don't know. It was just one of those things that I think I just kept piling stuff in. So I thought it would be fun to go through it on the podcast with you and decide if I'm going to finish these projects, if I'm going to frog them, or what I'm going to do. I have 2 totes to go through, so let's have some fun. Here's the first one, and let's see here. This is interesting. Okay, so I don't think it's attached to anything. But this is my Japanese cherry blossom colorway, and this was the most recent colorway that I added to my Juniper Cowl. And it's one of my favorite colorways, and even if I have like an inch left of this colorway, I'm going to keep it. So I feel like that could be a really cute granny square or a start to a granny square. Okay, this is some single ply bulky yarn. If you have never used single ply bulky yarn, you've got to try it. It is super, super soft, and the squish factor, like, it's just so squishy. I love it. I think I was designing an ear warmer, and I was using probably a herringbone stitch, which kind of slants a little bit, and it turned out really weird. So I think I frogged it. And then I think I was going to do something else and got distracted. I don't really know. I wonder where the rest of it is. I don't know. I have a feeling I would just ball this up and use it for scraps. So this is a mystery mini. Kind of thinking it's fingering weight. I need to throw this in my over dye pile and make this yarn super pretty. Just throw some color or some speckles on it. This could start a new collection of yarn for a Juniper Cowl.
I found this on the web.
And this is cotton yarn. Don't really know what I was doing with this. We'll just set it over here. Ooh, this is really pretty. I don't recognize this pattern. Oh, you know what? This is an ear warmer pattern that I designed 2 years ago. I need to look in my design book because I kind of remember this. It's really pretty. I hope I took really good notes because I could make a couple more and type this pattern up and release it. It's really cute. I like it. What you think? That's really cute. You can't make this stuff up. I just get distracted so easily. And the ends get me too. That's probably why it was in here, is because the ends needed weaved in. Those ends get me, y'all. Okay, so, I remember this colorway. This is hand dyed from Leap of Faith Yarns. I follow her on Instagram. Y'all go give her a follow. She has some of the prettiest yarns. And I think it was this time last year that I saw this colorway and I'm like, I need this. I'm pretty sure this is called Christmas Lights. Don't quote me on that. I was designing what I was calling a berry scarf with it. I got this far, and the repetitive same stitch over and over and over again got me. And the thought of doing an entire scarf just no longer brought me joy. But I love this color. Kind of thinking I might turn this into socks. These would make some really pretty socks. I just need to find the rest of it because I must have just cut the yarn and said, we'll figure out what to do with it. Definitely going to be saved. I think, pretty sure I'm going to do socks with it. What do we have here? Oh, look. Another ear warmer. By the way, I don't know why I'm still wearing this. Okay. I'm going to start another pile for this one. Here is another ear warmer. I made this one on my knitting machine, and I love this color. And are you attached to anything? No. I'm thinking what happened is I wanted to see what this colorway looked like knit. And I probably threw it on my Addy and did videos or something like that with it. And then I was obsessed with this color, but I wasn't fully dedicated to being an ear warmer. So I didn't weave in the ends because I thought about frogging it and using it for something else. That's my story. But man, it's really pretty. So I do think I'm going to weave in the ends because I would wear this. I'm going to, before I weave in the ends though, I'm going to double check and make sure like I didn't make a mistake and was going to frog it and redo it. It doesn't, just like a quick glance, it doesn't look like it. But before I weave in the ends, I can do that. I'm pretty sure this has been here for like a year. So I really do need to weave in the ends. So that's going in the weave in the ends pile. Oh goodness, what do we have here? Oh, this is a sassy fingerless glove with one of my tweeds. And I believe this color is wino, just a really, really dark wine color. Maybe we'll find its twin and I'll have a set that I'll have to weave the ends in on. So we're just going to set that aside and see if we can find its twin. Well, here's its cousin. This is the same sassy fingerless glove in my teal tweed that I didn't finish, or I finished it but didn't weave in the ends and it just kind of got pulled over time. That could be it. We'll see. We're going to put this to the side and see if it has a twin. Okay, that's not attached to anything. Moving right along. No idea what this is, but I like the stretch and I love the stitch. Oh, you know what? I bet this is a scrappy square from my yarn club. Every month in my yarn club, most every month, we do a scrappy square where we will go live and teach a new stitch or a stitch combination and make a square, and then you can save all your squares and make something with it. I think I'm going to be making a blanket, but I don't know. Who knows? I guess I didn't have enough yarn. So I'm probably just going to put this in the scrap yarn pile. Let's move on. Oh, this is, I think I designed the rice beanie with this. And those ends got me. They get me every time. I'm pretty sure this is the rice beanie. It's either that or the Avery beanie. I'll have to look on my blog because I'm pretty sure there's pictures of this with the ends tucked in. And I'm pretty sure it's a child size beanie. I kind of think this is going to go in the frog pile and I'm going to reuse this yarn because it's really pretty. Oh my goodness. I really enjoyed making this. I can't remember the designer's name, but this is a beanie I was making with some of my bulky yarn. And look how pretty it is. I can't remember the name of it. It was mermaid something. It's really pretty. I remember this pattern because I really enjoyed it. Why did I put it to the side? You know what? I bet I didn't feel like playing yarn chicken. I think that's what it was. Let's see. Yeah. I bet that's what it was. That I probably didn't gauge swatch and realized halfway that I did not have enough yarn. I'm really sad because I do remember this pattern and I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm going to have to check my pattern book to see if I took good notes or if I even wrote down that I was working on this project. So I have a design notebook, but I also use it for projects that I start. So I know what hook I used, what colorway I used, what pattern I used, and I'm really bad about making changes to a pattern. So I try to be organized. Keyword try, doesn't always happen. So I'm going to go back and check and maybe I can get back to that. I don't know. I kind of feel like I don't have enough yarn. We'll probably frog it, and we got a hot mess going on. So we're just going to kind of scoot this to the side. Here is a ball of yarn. Oh, you know what? I bet we'll untangle later. I bet this is my my waste yarn for whenever I use my knitting machine. Here is a brim to a beanie. I like the color. Definitely going in the scrap yarn pile. I guess I got bored or forgot I was making a beanie. I don't know. Who knows? We'll never know. Oh, I remember this. This is when I was first learning to knit. I took this on vacation with us, and I just practiced my knit stitch over and over and over again. In order for me to stick with something, I need to have a project in mind. I can't just do a swatch over and over and over again. Like, I need to feel like I have a purpose, like I have a reason why I'm doing this. So my idea was I was going to make this big enough to turn it into a cowl, and I was just going to do that twisted look and just have a cute little cowl with a twisted look. But I didn't measure. I didn't know what I was doing. So I didn't measure. Or I was gonna do it this way and I ran out of yarn. That could be it too. Oh. Pretty, yep. So something. Who knows? But I do remember what my idea was. My idea was a super cute cowl, and then who knows what happens. But this yarn's really pretty. This is my Mermaid Vibes colorway. So this is definitely going in my scrap yarn pile. We will frog that and use that for something else. Well, we are almost done with this bin. Okay, looks like just scrap yarn. No idea. No idea, but that color's pretty. I'm going to keep that. That's some of my hand-dyed yarn, so I'm definitely keeping scraps. I keep all scraps. Oh, here is a Brinley twisted ear warmer in my monochrome colorway, and it's finished. Except for those ends. Did y'all think I was being dramatic and making up how much I don't like weaving in ends? Are you seeing a pattern here? You just can't make it up. Can't make it up. Okay, so I need to weave in the ends. That's going in my pile of weaving in ends. And then there's just some more scrap yarn. Ooh. It's my camo colorway. I think this might be the camo yarn my husband dyed. No, I don't know. I don't remember. Possibly. So that's all that I have left in this bin. That's a mess. So that was cool. I have one more bin just like that. Buckle up. Wow. Okay. I remember this one. This is my Japanese cherry blossom colorway. And when I was learning to knit, I found this shawl pattern on YouTube. It's another Expression Fiber Arts pattern. And I started the pattern. And then that was when I found the Copland shawl and lost my mind and decided that I wanted to knit a Copland shawl. And I only had one hank of this yarn, so I just dyed yarn for that one. And then I just kind of put this to the side. I'm pretty sure the other part of this is now in my Copland shawl. But I'm going to add this to my scrap yarn pile because I could use it for something else. Oh, this is a Brinley fingerless glove in my sunflower flannel colorway. Oh, and I found its twin. Okay, so this is not my color, really. And that may be why I didn't weave in the ends. Because I just don't see me. I think it's gorgeous. I honestly do. I think this colorway is gorgeous. And I actually have some in my yarn shop if you want some. So I do think it is pretty, but I don't wear brown. So I think that's why I didn't weave in the ends, because I'm like, it was fun. I enjoyed it. but I could use this yarn for something else. But then would I even wear what I make with it? Who knows? So I think what I may do is tuck the ends in and update my pattern. I don't know, just not waste the work that I did. Take really good pictures and then decide if I want to frog it and use it for something else or just weave in the ends and gift them to somebody. I don't know. I feel like that's what happened with that. That's why I didn't weave in the ends. Sometimes I have a valid reason why I didn't weave in the ends. Most of the time it's because I don't want to and I don't like doing it. But sometimes it's because I'm not fully dedicated to committing the yarn to that project. And I want the option of being able to frog it without losing a whole lot of yarn. Oh, this is another Brecken triangle cowl. That is really pretty. I love those colors. That is this right here. I think it was just another one of those the ends got me. Oh, and look. Because I didn't weave in the ends, I have frogged it. Whoopsies. So now I just need to decide if I'm going to frog the whole project and reuse this yarn for something else, or if I'm going to weave in the ends and take pictures of it, because I think I only have a whip picture of this. Oh my goodness, you can't make this up. Okay, we're just going to move on with our life. What do we have here? Ooh, this is some of my tweed yarn in the color I believe I just named Berry. It's one of my all-time favorite tweed colors, and it's so gorgeous, and I feel like it's attached to something. It is attached to something. And it is a mystery. Who knows what I was making, but I like the texture. Pretty. Definitely going to frog that and use this tweed for something else. I have 2 other tweeds in the frog pile, unless I can find their twins. Might be a good scrap project. Ooh, I could make a Juniper Cowl and just adjust the pattern for DK weight yarn and make it with tweed. That would be gorgeous. We shall see. Okay, this is going with this, I guess. They are attached at the hip. I wonder what this was. It was something sassy, because that is my sassy pattern. I wonder if I was doing an ear warmer. For a kid. So did I run out of yarn? Okay. I think that's what it was. And then I didn't know what to do with it. So I just threw it in a pile. Definitely think I'm going to frog because it's a no-go. But it's so pretty. It is really pretty. Okay. So that's going to go in the I'm going to use that yarn for something else project. And okay, that goes with that. My goodness, y'all. This is a beanie that I made on my knitting machine, and I'm pretty sure I tucked these bad boys in here, took a picture like I got my life together, and then I didn't feel like weaving in the ends, so I threw it in the pile. I do like it. I think it's really pretty. I don't know if I want to frog it and reuse the yarn or if I want to weave in the ends, add a pom-pom, and wear the hat. Who knows? I'm just going to put it in in between the 2 piles because I'm indecisive. Here is, that looks like it's buried. So, ooh, here is a sassy fingerless glove in my Mermaid Vibes color. And look, the ends, they're just hanging out. I hope I can find the twin. I hope I made another one. Who knows? Okay, so we're just going to set this aside and fingers crossed that I made another one and it's in here. Ooh, more tweed. Ooh, it's my charcoal color. That is so pretty. I'm gonna put that over there. Ooh, okay. I love, love, love this colorway. This is my Jewels colorway, and every time I dye this yarn, I keep at least one for me, and I feel like I had the perfect project in mind, so I caked it up, and then here it sits. Who knows? Oh, like it's ready to be used. We'll just set that back there on the shelf. I can't remember the name of this colorway. It's really gonna bother me. Vintage? I think this is my vintage colorway. I can't really remember. Probably had the perfect project in mind and then nothing. Oh, a sunshine coffee cozy. The ends are weaved in. So I don't know what happened. It must have just like fallen in there. Oh, how cute is that tag? Coffee and my dog. Whenever I'm going on vacation somewhere, I always throw one of these in my purse because I know I'm going to get coffee to go and I like using them. But around here, there's really no place to get coffee to go unless you go to McDonald's, and I don't really care for McDonald's coffee. So that's probably how it ended up over here. This is some scrap cotton yarn. I love this blushy pink color. And nope, not wasting time on that. Ooh. This is another sassy project. I may have been making an ear warmer, a sassy ear warmer. I know at one time I really wanted to make a sassy scarf, so I don't know if I was swatching for that. I feel like I would have made a scarf wider, but I don't know. I'm definitely going to frog it and use this yarn for something else, possibly. We're just gonna let it hang out. Okay, this is a country bumpkin mug hug that you put around a coffee mug or a tea mug. It keeps your hands from getting hot. You can unbutton it and then wrap it around the mug and button it back. And I guess I just didn't feel like weaving in the ends because there was double the ends because of the added button. You just can't make this up. Ooh, here's some scrap yarn. I love that pretty blue color. Ooh, look, more tweed. I'm putting this in my pile over here. Oops. And another country bumpkin mug hug with the ends. I was over it. Ooh, more tweed in that wino color. Ooh, this is gorgeous. That is so pretty. Don't know what I was doing with it. Okay, I remember this. This is way back when I first started dyeing yarn. I went on this whole I want to try every yarn base that I can get my hands on, and I think this is non-superwash. I know it's bulky. I want to say this was gray before I dyed it, and I just speckled over it. I don't know, but it's really pretty. Oh, I know what this is. I did a gauge swatch for my sassy wrap with this. And then I think I was gonna unravel it and reuse the yarn. And it got a little tangled. Ooh, this is from a while ago. And it was a design I was working on. I think it was gonna be a wrap or a shawl. Look at that texture. I do think if it's going to be a wrap, that I would want it about half that width. So I need to check my design notebook and see how good my notes are on this. I love simple texture with tweed yarn because it just really, really shows off all the tweed, the colors, and the texture just pops. I do think we may see that again. I just need to make sure I have some type of notes. We shall see. We're just going to put it back in here for now. Oh, sunshine mug rug. I love doing a solid color here, and as you can see, some type of colorful fringe on the edge. Oh, and look, here's another one. These just need to be blocked, maybe steamed. Look how fun they are. And another sunshine coffee cozy, and the ends have been weaved in. Did you see me check? And it says coffee and cats. How cute. Oh my goodness, I've been looking for these. These are my yarn cozies that I got from Slip Stitch Studios. I love putting these around a cake of yarn because it keeps it all nice and neat. Ooh. Oh. So there's the rest of the yarn that I was using for the other project. We'll just put that back in here. Y'all, I found it. I found the twin to the other Sassy Fingerless Glove, and I am super excited. It's the ends. The ends got me. Or I was going to reuse the yarn. I think I just was too lazy to weave in the ends. So I think I need to take some pictures of these. How pretty. I think I need to weave in the ends, take some pictures, and then wear these. I really like them. So I'm putting this in the weave in the ends pile. Here is the rest of the, I think it's called Christmas Lights by Liba Faith Yarns. So I'm going to put that over there so I can retake it. And the rest just looks like scrap yarn that has joined the party. Ooh, that's pretty. And I think that's all. Pretty interesting, huh? So I'm going to focus on getting this hot mess cleaned up before I dig through my yarn room and find anything else. I feel like this is not the only hot mess that I have. I'm hoping that I can get this cleaned up pretty soon, or at least organized enough, get the ends weaved in on the projects that I want to keep. I feel like that'll just give me a really good start for next year. So I'm not going to add to a mess. I can just start new messy piles. That's my plan. I know myself enough not to say that I'm going to get all this cleaned up and I'm never going to do it again. But at least I will have an empty tote or two to start new piles. Check out my yarn scraps jar. So anytime I have to cake yarn and I have to cut the ties, I save them. Or if I finished a project and I weaved the ends in, anything long enough, I will throw in the jar because it's a really cool display. Plus, it makes super cute fringe on mug rugs or whatever I need fringe for. And I think I have another one of these somewhere. I just don't know where I put it. Does anybody else do this? Anybody else save their ends? I used to save the ends on all yarn, but now I just save the ends on my hand-dyed yarn because something had to give. I had yarn everywhere. Maybe in the next podcast, we will tackle this jar of goodies. Don't even remember what's in here. I do think I have some granny squares in here, and I think I have some scrappy squares in here. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll remember next episode and we'll go through that one. If you have made it this far into the podcast, thank you for hanging out with me. You are a champ. I am going to end the podcast with some tips. I feel like at the end of the year, so many of us have lost our Crojo or our, I don't know what knitters call it. Knit Joe? No Joe? I don't know. Anyways, I'm not going to embarrass myself by going down that rabbit hole and trying to figure out what that is. But your knit motivation, your crochet motivation, your craft motivation, whatever you call it, I feel like at the end of the year, all of us have hit, at some point during the year, we have hit burnout or we just lost our will to crochet or to knit or whatever it is, especially if you sell your makes, because sometimes you can feel like you're just a machine. You're just making the same thing over and over and over again. So if you have lost your Crojo knit motivation and you're just feeling burned out and the thought of, picking up your hook or picking up your needles just bores you or you're just not feeling it, I'm going to share with you what will usually get me back in the groove. The first thing is I ask myself, when was the last time that I made something just for me? This is super important, especially for makers that sell their items, because you feel like you're always in work mode and you're constantly making items for your shop or for custom orders or whatever. And before you realize it, you have lost your joy in you. So, whenever I start feeling myself, feeling the burnout, getting bored, I will ask myself that. And if my answer is, oh, I don't know, or it's been a long time, I will sit down and figure out what I want to make for myself and just kind of let that be my focus for a bit, or make something that has been on my list that just brings me joy. That will usually help me kind of get out of whatever funk I'm in. The next question that I'll ask myself is, have I been making the same thing over and over again? I tend to binge make things, in case you haven't noticed. I'm really, really bad about this with beanies. If I make one beanie, I'm making 7. If I make one dishcloth, I'm making 20. I've seen this with the Copland shawl. I loved the one I was making so much that I started another one before I finished that one. I've really been into making cowls and shawls lately. You've seen this with the knit socks. I know I've made at least 10 pair now. Whenever I'm feeling bored, burned out, or just like, ugh, I don't want to knit, I don't want to crochet, I don't really know what I want to do, I will look back and see if I've been making the same thing over and over again. If the answer is yes, what I will usually do is get on Pinterest and I'll just look at like crochet patterns or knit patterns. I have just a really vague search and I'll kind of scroll, see what gets my attention, and then I'll start narrowing it down from there, like crochet hat or knit hat or whatever it is I've decided that I think I want to make. I'll get on Pinterest and scroll to see what gets my interest, maybe start a new Pinterest board. Usually this will lead to YouTube, and then I'm checking on YouTube, and then it usually leads me to Ravelry or Etsy, and I'm buying a pattern. And the next thing you know, I have a new project that I'm super excited about, and it brings me joy. That doesn't work. I will start Googling like textured crochet stitch, fun crochet stitch, or fun knit stitch. Something like that, and learn a new stitch or learn a new stitch combinations or something along those lines, which will usually lead me to YouTube. Another great resource is this crochet stitch dictionary. I also have a knit stitch dictionary that my sweet mom bought me this summer. I will sometimes just come in here and look through there and see what catches my eye. I actually don't learn from pictures. I can kind of get the gist of it by looking at the picture and reading the pattern, but it's not as easy for me. Looking at all of this, it's my ADHD brain. I'm like, "Ooh, look at those colors. Those are really pretty. Oh, I wonder what kind of hook that is." Huh. Step 6. I'm looking at step 6 and I should be looking at step 1. My brain just does not want to settle down and focus. So usually what I do is I use this as a point of reference and I'll see what interests me, and then I'll go to good old YouTube and I will type in whatever stitch I want to learn and then find a video tutorial that works for my brain. I do the same thing with the Knit Stitch Dictionary. Sometimes it helps just to have the book, because if you get on Pinterest or Google, there are so many. So usually this will help me just kind of focus for a minute and get an idea of what I want. Ooh, that looks really cute. That almost looks like paws, like dog paws. Or maybe it was just my brain for a second. I think it does. Sorry, squirrel. Usually one of those 3 things or all 3 of those will get me back to being excited about crocheting or knitting again. I hope that helps you if you are just like, I don't even want to look at crochet. I don't want to talk about crochet. I don't want to talk about knitting. And I hope that will get you back to loving it again. I would love to know, what do you do? What do you do when you feel like you're getting burned out or you're just bored with it? Do you have something that you usually do that will get you back excited about it? Let me know. I also have a blog post that I wrote about this. I can't remember. I think it was earlier this year, and I have a lot more tips on there. So I will link that below too, in case you want to check that out. All right, y'all. That is all that I have for you this week. And this is going to be the last podcast episode for this year. I should be back about the second week of January. I'm taking a short break after I get my Yarn Club boxes out and just enjoying the holidays with my family. And then my husband is having surgery next week, so I will be taking care of him. Yeah, you can't make this up. He's getting his gallbladder out next week. So I will be taking care of him and hanging out with him while he's recovering. And I should be back, I'm thinking, about the second week of January. The good news is I should have a lot of projects to share with y'all. Hopefully the Juniper Cowl will be finished and I can show y'all that. I might even start another one. And hey, I might even surprise you and get all of the ends weaved in on all of these projects. I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas and a happy new year. And until next time, happy yarning. Bye for now.